All right. Well, just start out with a big congratulations to Authentic and all the Massachusetts connections that we have there. Saul Kuman, Jim Pilata, Natticut Stables, Bob Baffert, for their victory in the Kentucky Derby last weekend. So great, great Massachusetts connections there, and I know Saul and Jimmy, gave those horses to Bob, and as usual, he did a tremendous job with them. And so, you know, hats off to those guys and Authentic, and hope that he can do what Justify did, if that's possible. So anyway, we're obviously moving into our Miami preparations now with the roster set. I'm sure there'll be more transactions here in the next few days, but the bulk of it anyway, being set after the cutdown on Saturday, and just looking forward to getting the regular season started, and just taking it day by day here, try to improve and control the things that we can, and we know we've got a long way to go, a lot of work to do, but again, these players have really been diligent about everything. Their preparation, their training, good habits, and just continuing to work hard and improve every day. And so that's really what we need to do, and that's what we'll hopefully be able to continue to keep doing. So try not to overanalyze or overthink things too much, and just try to play good solid football, and that'll be a good start for us. So hopefully we can do that.
Start with Yanni Caracas, followed by Ben Volen.
Coach, I think a lot of us are waking up on this Labor Day and can't believe football is finally here. Looking back over the last 4 or 5 months, are you pleased with how the process has gone? If you look at where we were as a country and where the NFL was maybe in April, May, and now it looks like we're kicking this off this week, just sort of the process and where you are now in game week.
Yeah, well, as it relates to the country and all that, I mean, that's way out of my league and my control. But it appears like from a league standpoint, we've been able to manage the situation pretty well. There have been minimal true positive tests. I mean, when you take all the false positives out of there, it's been minimal, particularly in recent weeks, and so hopefully that'll continue. I know all the coaches and players and staff that are involved in this process are looking forward to it on our end, and from other teams that I've talked to, I get that same feeling as well. So, we'll see how it goes here. College football is underway. Looking forward to watching Navy play tonight, and see how that's going. But we're all looking forward to getting going. So that's a good thing. I'd say 6 months ago maybe there was some uncertainty, but I think each day the confidence level around here has grown in the process and what we're doing, and so hopefully that'll continue through the season and beyond.
Next question, Ben Volen, followed by Mike Reese.
Good morning, Bill. A lot of changes on defense for you guys this year. Just a lot of familiar faces no longer here. Just how do you see everything coming together on that side of the ball right now?
Yeah, well, we haven't had a lot of changes here since we started in July. So, we'll add the new people, and the guys that are here have given us a lot of experience and leadership, and we'll see how it all comes together. I don't know.
Sorry, quick follow-up. Sorry. What about just for you as a coach? Is it is it refreshing in a way to have so many new faces and guys in new roles? And is it different for you as a coach and a teacher, I guess?
Yeah, and every year is a different year. Every year brings new challenges and different players, and we play different teams with different coaches and different players. So it's never the same. Everybody in this league is very talented. Every team has, talented coaches, talented players, and they work hard and have a good system. So we know we'll get challenged every single week. That's the league that we're in, and it's a great league to be in, and that's really one of the things that I think those of us in the NFL can enjoy is just the high level of competition on a consistent basis. So, and there's consistent change. So, every team we play has made changes. We have changes. I mean, that's the National Football League. That happens. That's the way it is every year, and that's the way it is on every team.
Next question, Mike Reese, followed by Phil Perry.
Hey, Bill, on the radio this morning, Cam Newton called his fit here a match made in heaven, and just said it was exciting to play for a coach like you. What excites you about coaching a player with Cam's skill set?
Yeah, well, Mike, I think we've talked about that. You know, he's come in and done everything we've asked him to do. He works hard. He's obviously a very talented player, and looking forward to continue to work with him. So, you know, we'll just take it day by day. But you know, he's given us everything he's had, and you know, we've tried to put the team in the best position we can competitively. We'll see how all that comes out, and I'm sure a lot of things will change as the season goes along. But you know, we are where we are for right now, and we'll just keep trying to get better every day.
Next question, Phil Perry, followed by Eden Kern.
Hey, Bill, wanted to ask you about the in-stadium sound situation this year and what your understanding of what that will be and how odd that might be, and maybe how important it was for you guys to go through that game simulation a couple weeks ago, maybe to get accustomed to that.
Right. Well, I mean, we've been working with the noise almost on a daily basis. So, you know, in the stadium, that was another opportunity for us to do that. But we've done plenty of it, and you know, we'll see how it all plays out. It looks like it'll be you know, what we've had it out there, other than during the stoppages of play for TV timeouts and change of quarters and things like that. So, you know, I think that'll be what it's normally been, but I'm sure the feeling will be a little bit different. Hopefully we can, you know, focus on the jobs that we have to do and you know, how we have to coach and play to, you know, to compete against the Dolphins, and you know, the rest of it that's all out of our hands, and it is what it is. But we've worked in noise, so I think, you know, we'll be prepared for whatever, you know, for those conditions. I think it's been pretty standardized as opposed to sometimes the high up and down fluctuations that have come in the past. It doesn't look like we're going to be dealing with that this year. This will be more of a you know, a constant level. So.
Next question, Eden Kern, followed by Evan Lazar.
Good morning, Bill. Kind of building off of Phil's question, I'm curious from an offensive and defensive perspective, with no fans in the stadium, at least to begin the season, does that help the offense in terms of being able to communicate better, or does it hurt them by, you know, allowing the defense to hear their calls from line of scrimmage more? Just curious your opinion on how that helps and hurts your team.
Yeah, well, I don't know who it helps or hurts. It's the same for everybody. So, you know, whatever our defense can hear, theoretically, their defense can hear, and vice versa. So, it seems like there's less of a home field advantage, if you will, in terms of controlling the crowd noise. But, you know, silence has its advantages and noise has its advantages. So, we've played in both. Looks like this will be somewhere in between. Like I said, we practiced in it. We feel like we have, you know, a handle on it. We've dealt with certainly a lot worse on both ends, and so we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll have to make some modifications along the way, but at this point, I think we've experienced what we think we're going to experience, the best that we can simulate it, and we'll just have to, you know, see how it actually plays out. But I'm not expecting it to be a major advantage or concern one way or the other.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
Next question, Evan Lazar, followed by Max Rullo.
Hey, Coach. I was wondering with the new 55-man game day roster, just how much, you know, that went into consideration with roster cutdowns the other day, and just knowing that you have, I believe you can call up two guys from the practice squad on game day and they can play in the game. So I'm just curious if that played a factor at all in roster cutdowns.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it played a factor. It was a factor for us, and I think it was a factor for most teams in the league. It looks like to me that there'll be players that will play in the game that are on the practice squad that will be elevated, as you said, to a 54th or 55th position. So it does increase the roster flexibility, and I think it looks to me like I haven't looked at every single roster and seen the strategy and so forth, but my guess would be that there'll be a lot of teams using players from their practice squad on opening day as you call it, for 54th or 55th player. So it does give you some flexibility, and that played a part in some of our roster decisions. Yes.
I also just want to follow up with the minimum of 8 offensive linemen active on game day. You can have extra guys on the active roster, I believe, too, for a game. How much did that play a factor at all in keeping 10 offensive linemen on the roster on Saturday?
Right. Well, the only flexibility it gives you is that 8th lineman. This is similar to the 3rd quarterback rule that we had before, except if the 8th lineman plays, it doesn't knock anybody else out like it did on the 3rd quarterback rule. So, I think the idea of the 8th offensive lineman is fundamentally a good one. When you have 7 players to play 5 spots, the depth on those 5 spots is a little bit of an issue. You feel probably pretty good about some of the positions that are backed up, but it's hard to back up all 5 spots with 2 guys or some combination thereof. So, this theoretically would provide you with a backup center, a backup guard, and a backup tackle. Of course, those guys would have to swing from left side to the right side, but if that's the way you wanted to do it, center, guard, tackle, then that way you don't have to have a combination guard tackle or a combination center guard for that 7th lineman in order to to back everybody up there. Of course, you could have carried 8 in the past, but most teams didn't do that just because of the need to have another player to utilize in whether it be a kicking game or some other personnel package on offense or defense. So, I think this clears it up. It provides for a little more depth and enables you to, I'd say have more depth on the offensive line, because really, if it's not an offensive lineman, there's no other player that's going to play on the O line. You're not going to have a receiver or a linebacker or somebody play in that spot. So it really is, that's its own group. So, it provides more depth and that's probably a good thing for the game. So, I think there's solid and fundamental thinking behind that makes sense.
Next question, Max Rulo, followed by Mike Reese.
Good morning, Bill. How's it going?
Good, Max. How you doing?
It's going good. Hey, so kind of a related question. Last week you were talking about how the more practice squad spots and the change with injured reserve and kind of all the different rules this year, how those might affect cutdown day. I'm just curious how everything kind of played out. Did things go smoothly and kind of as you guys expected they might, or were you surprised by how teams handled their decisions and what the player pool looked like as a result?
No, I'd say this went about the way we thought it would go. We talked to the staff and so forth prior to the process. This is a year where, as we mentioned earlier, there's kind of a couple spots on the practice squad for a player in the right situation where you can actually expand your roster from 53 to 55. Again, I saw a lot of teams that it looked to me like that's what they were doing. The flexibility to put veteran players on the practice squad, gives teams a lot more flexibility than what they had in the past. So we anticipated that. Having said all that I'd say created the opportunity for teams to keep more of their younger players in some kind of protected role. And so there were fewer of those players exposed, draft choices or, first college free agents or rookies from last year that I would say might have been on the fringe. A lot of those players were, able to be protected this year. And there were very few claims. This was a low claiming year, which again was expected because, teams are trying to protect players, and, it's just hard to create space to claim a player when you're trying to protect players at the same time. So there weren't many trades, say for some of the same reasons. So I think, teams have expanded rosters, and they are trying to maintain their depth from within their roster as opposed to counting on outside depth to support the roster. And I think that's pretty clear through multiple transactions this year. And of course now when you try to support your depth externally, you have a waiting period for the player to clear COVID protocol. So, the idea of bringing in a player on, call it Tuesday, you might not see him until Friday, which effectively would, make it hard for him to contribute very much during the week, where if you normally got a player on Tuesday, you would have a chance in a normal work week to have him better prepared to play. So, can you do it? I mean, yeah, you could, but I'm just saying it's a lot harder now. And so I think teams are more cognizant of their internal depth and are probably going to be less reliant on external depth, although I'm sure there'll be some of that too, but you just got to recognize that there's a time lapse before you can actually get to those players. And you can start, training them or working with them. So that's what it looked like to me this past weekend, and that's about what we anticipated it would be.
Thank you.
We'll make Mike Reese the final question. Apologies to those that did not get a chance to ask a question. Go ahead, Mike.
Bill, how much of a difference have you noticed, if at all, in Nick Folk's range since you've had him back this year? And are you anticipating him up on the 53 with some roster, management here in the next couple of days?
Yeah, well, we'll see how the whole roster thing plays out. I'm sure there'll be a lot of roster movement throughout the league, Mike, today, tomorrow, probably even Wednesday, as there usually is. I don't think we've seen the end of player transactions or even there'd be fewer because there were so many, but I think we'll still see a significant number of player transactions here in the next day or two. And, Nick came in last year in the middle of the season. I think anytime you kick in New England in November and December, you see a difference in the way the ball travels, not necessarily leg strength, but the results of the kick are a little bit different in November and December than they are in August. So, I'd say it's a little hard to tell just because the conditions are so different. But, Nick's come in and obviously done a good job with us because we've, put him on the practice squad and want to continue to work with him. And so, we'll take it from there and see how it goes. But he's done a good job and hit the ball well. Justin, has as well, and certainly there's a big experience gap here, but that's not uncommon either. So we'll again just try to make the best decisions we can on that, and we're fortunate that we have two players at that position that are, I would say, NFL quality. Similar to the quarterback position, we're fortunate to have depth in those spots, and those are good ones to have them in. Okay.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
All right, great. Thank you.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil. Sprinkler pipe. Diane!
Ready or not.
Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil.
Ready or
so you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
For over 60 years, this team has transformed itself into a championship organization. For over 160 years, our team has demonstrated a similar mentality. There are no days off. Our front lines are fortified by people who sacrifice individuality for the team. Our shelves are also stocked with the best quality products and ingredients. Our team members know their roles. We're proud to do our jobs. Shaw's, the official supermarket of the 6-time champion New England Patriots.
My Caleb sofa and love seat. With Bob's discount, you get both pieces for just $7.99.
$7.99? Are you joking?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Yes, you look like you're joking.
I'm serious.
Cool.
Get Bob's discount! How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil.